holy terror. But you know what? I'm grateful to her because all I got to do is look at Facebook for 5 minutes and see how illiterate 90% of the population is. And then I'm thankful to Sister Julie for cracking me over the head with the pointer and the old cliche of the ruler, the old stand by the ruler across the knuckles. All the old classic nun cliches. But you know what? By the time I finished the second grade, I knew how to use proper grammar. I knew how to read, write, and how to spell, and how to add and subtract. And Lord knows I see enough people on social media that are allegedly grown adults that lucky they can spell their names. So yeah, so I'll say I admire Sister Julie. I hated her at the time.
But
we all hated her at the time.
Who else influenced you? I mean, family-wise, friend-wise. I know Chris Goins, but
yep.
Besides Chris, I mean, who encouraged you or encouraged you, I guess, in your career?
I had the good cop, bad cop thing going on, which was the good cop was Chris Goins, and the bad cop was my former bandmate Murray. And I don't mean this in a bad way at all. It's just that Chris always gave me positive encouragement and always pushed me to do better. And Murray also, in his way, pushed me to do better, except he was more critical and tend to crack the whip on me more, which is fine because it worked out because I've done fairly okay for myself.
But family-wise, like your mom or...
Yeah, of course, my parents, so yeah.
They encouraged you or...
I think they found my career choice rather strange, but I mean, hell, man, if you'd asked me if I was in... We may have gone over this too, I don't know. But if you had asked me, when I was a young kid, what was I going to do for a living? What did I want to be when I grew up? Probably a damn musician would probably be the last thing I'd ever thunk.
Yeah.
And, the old cliche is true that you don't choose music, music chooses you. And it chose me for whatever perverse reason. But I got it, I was always into music. My parents were very young when they had me, so I grew up during the classic rock era in the late 60s, early 70s. And, I've held most of the stuff that I play as far as cover tunes to this day are songs I knew pretty much from the cradle. And I just kind of took it from there. And then lo and behold, about the time that the old hormones started kicking in as a teenager, I couldn't help but notice that the guys that got all the girly action in high school, even more so than the star quarterbacks or whatever, were the guys that played in bands.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, I might have to give this a go. Because about the time I was 15 or 16, I couldn't have got laid in a whorehouse with a handful of 50s. So my fortunes changed. It was a welcome change.
Well, you were fortunate if your family, if your mom and dad played that type of music.
Yeah.
I mean, you really
Then, of
were.
course, my looks caught up with my charm, and the rest is history.
And you are so humble.
Yep.
What was the first song you learned?
Oh, first song I learned?
Yeah.
On guitar?
Yeah. Or maybe even first song you sang on stage.
Wow. First song I ever sang on stage was Can't Always Get What You Want by the Stones, because I figured it was 3 chords and I couldn't fuck it up. And once again, my buddy Chris Goins invited me on stage for the first time ever with his then duo called Overdue with himself and Tim Wilkie. First song I ever attempted to play, I believe, was Cocaine, the Eric Clapton version, because it seemed relatively easy.
Yeah.
Da-da-da-da.
It wasn't Smoke on the Water.
No, it wasn't Smoke on the Water. That might have been like second or third. I remember the first one that really baffled and frustrated me was Paranoid by Black Sabbath. Because I could never get that little roll going at I kept screwing it up. I remember taking my guitar and throwing it across the room because I couldn't get it right.
Patience is a virtue. Do you have any advice for someone that might want to get in this type of work?
Don't.
Well,
Nah.
I'd have to.
I couldn't even imagine trying to be, excuse me, a youngster trying to break into this business as miserable as it is now. And it pains me to say that.
Yeah.
But it is the truth. I mean, if you are breaking into the music business now as a youngster, you've got the whole deck stacked against you. I mean, everything. I came along at a good time. About the time I started playing out in the bars, we were going through the whole classic rock renaissance. Where basically, this is strictly my editorial, is the fact that 90% of the music in the 80s was just complete, total horse shit. And I think what happened is some of the children of the 80s started discovering their older brothers and sisters' record collections, and all of a sudden, all the bands from the 70s who had broken up or were in some sort of dysfunction, all of a sudden found themselves back relevant again. And all of a sudden, here's Pink Floyd back again, here's the Who back again, and so on and so forth. And the band I was in with Murray, Relapse, we kind of followed Overdue's coattails, doing the same kind of stuff, acoustic trio doing classic rock. And at that time, the whole classic rock thing was discovering a renaissance among all the college kids. And they just loved what we did, and that was pretty much my springboard from there. I mean, as compared to now, where I'm not saying all younger kids, because I do know of some that still appreciate music who are raised right, but for the most part, millennials don't have a clue or give one rat's ass about actual music. They'd rather watch a DJ just push the go button and stand there for 3 hours and get paid. I know, get off my lawn. And so that aspect's changed. When I broke into the business, hell, there weren't even cell phones.
Right.
Computers were rare. People had to go out to interact with other people, and there was no social media. There was nothing of that kind. So people had to actually go out and actually socialize and interact with each other. And of course, those days are long gone. So the bars were all packed, and it was also before the whole DUI, OVI, I don't know, blitz, whatever you want to call it, crusades or whatever, to get everybody off the roads. And, back then we used to have people that would drive for miles upon miles to come see us at a different bar. And now these same people, they won't drive down the street anymore.
Well, they've aged too.
Yeah, exactly. And in some cases, now see, down in FLA, they've pretty much caught on to it, where I play early gigs all the time down there, and all the people that do my kind of stuff, we play early gigs like 6 to 9, 4 to 8, blah, blah, blah. Whereas up here, they haven't quite got hip to that yet, and they got us 50-year-olds trying to play from 9 to 1 and 10 to 2, and people our age just simply don't stay out that late.
Right.
Especially not on a weeknight.
Right.
And most of them don't go out, period, because of the drinking and driving. Why would you risk it when you've got all this multimedia now? You got your man cave now, and you can just sit at home and get ripped. And this is actually a true statistic that people haven't stopped drinking. People drink more now than they ever have. alcohol purchases and consumption is higher now from liquor stores than it's ever been ever. But the thing is, people don't go out anymore. Everybody, well, I mean, we're sitting here facing the big screen, our big jumbo TV screen and everything, and you can watch anything you want. You can put on YouTube, put on your stereo, put on any video you want in the world, and in the comfort of your own home, and don't have to worry about it. Everybody's got their phone, got their idiot phone in front of them. They can put up anything they want to, and socially interact with each other, and there's no need to go to bars anymore. And that sucks.
Yeah.
But that's just the way it is, and we
I
just have
think
to
that,
adapt.
I think the younger people go out, but
And
they
stare at their phones. I don't.
Yeah.
That's a phenomenon I do not
That's
get.
true. But I mean, it's the people, your demographics is classic rock and people in their 50s and 60s, and, we don't go out that late.
Right.
And that's a big problem.
Yep.
Because it's not like we don't want to hear it. We do. It's just that...
Well, that's why the folks up here up north and the club owners need to get hip to the fact that if you're, you want the middle-aged crowd, because the middle-aged crowd still spends money and still has disposable income. But if you want to keep that crowd, then you got to start having some gigs earlier.
Right.
Because the old folks just ain't going out at 10 o'clock anymore. And then the only people that do go out at 10 o'clock anymore are the youngsters, and they don't give a shit about our stuff. So times have changed, and it's no use in bitching about it. It's just of course I am bitching about it, but I mean there's no sense in it, because it is what it is. Nothing stays the same forever.
Right.
Right.
Hmm.
I think really in my younger days I was just so enamored with the music of my age that I just thought that our music would never go out of style.
I do too.
And you know what? It still has hung around a lot better than just about. I mean, the classic rock from the 60s and 70s and whatnot and early 80s has aged better than probably just about any other genre.
Right. You could be right on that.
Well, you do. I mean, you still hear Jimi Hendrix and the Doors and the Who and everybody else on the radio on a daily basis, just 50 years down the line. And how many people can say that? I mean, you weren't hearing the Glenn Miller Orchestra on the radio in the 70s.
No.
I mean, no offense to Glenn Miller or anybody like that, but you weren't hearing Glenn Miller. You weren't hearing Frank Sinatra on the radio on a regular basis in the 1970s.
No.
Their shit was just out of favor and it was gone, and that was it.
Certain stations, but
certain specialized stations, but not mainstream stations.
No. WSAI and
I mean, Christ Almighty, you can still turn on WEBN and still hear the Who or the Rolling Stones or Leonard Skinner, and these songs are 50 years old now. Mm-hmm. And I can't think of any other genre that can say that.
Right.
So.
Right. I'm sure the symphony people might disagree, and I mean, there's a certain there's a certain amount of society that. And
right, but once again, it's more specialized.
Right.
It's not mainstream.
Right, exactly.
I mean, you still hear classic rock songs in half the commercials that are on TV now, still to this day.
Well, and what we were talking about the other day, the Bugs Bunny cartoons was symphony music. I mean...
Yeah, exactly.
It was classical music. We just didn't know it.
But, God bless Pete Townsend. He's never met one of his songs that he doesn't whore out to a commercial. I mean, you can't turn on the TV without hearing a Who song in a damn radio ad or a TV ad. Right. So I really don't think you can say that for really.
Well, Johnny Cash.
Genre.
I mean,
John. You know what, Johnny was kind of rock and roll. I mean, he was technically country, but Johnny was just kind of his own thing, man.
I mean, he do that Ford commercial. I mean, he's dead. I don't even know if he signed off on that, but
Well, whoever's in charge of his
Yeah.
catalog did.
Yeah.
Well, the same thing, Johnny's from the same era. He's from the classic era. And yeah, so, turn on the damn TV commercial. There's Ring of Fire, know.
Yeah. So, we talked about this before, but I didn't get it on video. I mean, I'm still going to ask, do you have a favorite genre or band or song? And
people ask me that all the time, and I really don't. I really can't name what's my favorite song.
Right.
I really can't tell you. People ask me all the time, what's your favorite song to play? And I just tell them I hate them all because I'm tired of all of them.
Well, I know your least favorite is American Pie and...
Shall I name them off?
Wagon Wheel and...
Oh, Christ.
I don't even think you play
Brown-Eyed Girl.
Brown-Eyed Girl, yeah.
Brown-Eyed
Girl. Even Van Morrison hates that song.
Yes, he does.
And it makes him lots of money.
And that didn't make him a lot of money because he didn't write it. But he just got tired of his fans bitching that he never plays it. So he just did it to appease the fans.
Right.
Yeah. That's the number one rule, kiddies. Songwriters make the money. If you're a singer, it doesn't mean shit. The songwriter makes all the money.
Wow.
And it's the reason the Who get back together every few years, because Pete Townshend's got lots of money and Roger Daltrey's broke. Which is why Pete Townsend whores every damn Who song in the world off the commercials, because Pete just sits back and rolls in the money.
Wow. Didn't know that.
Yeah. So, that's the way it is. And now I lost my train of thought.
But the question was your favorite, music.
Oh, anyway, yeah, I got sidetracked there talking about Van Morrison, Brown-Eyed Girl.
I know.
Yeah, Van didn't make shit off of Brown-Eyed Girl, except he had a hit. But he just started doing that song again recently in concert just because his fans bitched at him so much that he hasn't played it in like 50 years.
The masses are asses.
Thank you.
So you lately, I mean, in the past few years, you're leaning towards country.
Yeah, just because I've gotten a little older, and
well, you've gotten down south too.
Yeah.
And I will never let you live it down that I tried to push you towards country, and I was laughed down to the kitchen. But
yeah.
Oh well.
You were right again, honey.
That's a mother.
you were right again, honey.
I told you so. But so let's say country. Who would be your favorite country? That and not today.
Well, yeah, because most of it, well, you know what? I can't even say that. I'd say because most of today's country sucks. But actually, no, most of today's mainstream country sucks.
Well, I don't want you to go on to Jesse Ritter right now. I want you to go to, like, Merle, Waylon, Willie.
You're naming them all off there.
Johnny.
I think as far as singing goes, George Jones was the greatest. I mean, that dude was country to the max. I mean, you play George Jones records backwards, you do get your dog back, and your wife comes home and
get your job back, your truck back.
You stop drinking.
Well, that ain't gonna happen.
Go to rehab.
Yeah. Jeez, screwed up rehab. So then we go to classic rock. I mean, you do a lot of Grateful Dead and Neil Young and their songs are more towards your voice and your the way you play,
right?
But are they your I mean, when you just relax and want to listen to music, who do you listen to?
Depends on my mood.
Yeah, I understand that.
Depends on my mood. If I'm in a more laid-back mood, I'll listen to like Neil Young or people of that nature, or Van Morrison, Anything But Brown Eyed Girl. If I'm in an aggressive mood and I'm on the highway and road raging, which is most of the time, I'll throw on some Motorhead, some Van Halen.
Not Zappa. I hate Zappa.
Well, that's your problem.
Yeah, but I remember driving to Florida and got out of the car. I was like so sick of Zappa. But good times.
Yeah.
Young and hormonal.
Yeah.
Wow.
You should have petted the furry rug.
Yeah, I should have. Pet the furry wall.
The furry wall.
Yeah. Yeah, well, it was 3 a.m. and all I wanted was peace and quiet. I didn't care about justice. And Zappa wasn't getting it.
What, you didn't appreciate the Muffin Man at 3 o'clock in the
No,
morning?
hell no. It's like, I'm going to kill him now.
You didn't appreciate Dynamo Hum at 3 o'clock in the morning?
No, I just wanted peace and quiet. I'm weird that way sometimes. God. I'm gonna turn this